this afternoon, asking for your blessing as we are gathered together for Green Convergence SONA 2020. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that your indwelling spirit would clearly show us how to enhance our advocacy for safe food, healthy environment, and sustainable economy with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to collaborate together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best we can be. In thanksgiving and full of gratitude, we ask this in the name of Jesus, your Son, our brother and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Sister Sonia. Good afternoon, everyone. Isang makakalikasang pagbati at mainit na pagtanggap sa inyong lahat. This is the 367th session of Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum, a monthly environmental forum that started in March 1990. So it's the longest running environmental forum at 30 years. Today is very special. We are hosting the State of Nature Assessment, or Green SONA, on the Philippine environment amidst COVID-19. The Green SONA is an annual activity of Green Convergence, which organizes, hosts this Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum monthly, every Friday. Every third Friday, I'm sorry. Yeah. For 30 years, it has been held every Friday, virtually without interruption. So even under COVID-19, we are doing our best to bring to the Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum, organized by, as I mentioned, Green Convergence for Safe Food, Healthy Environment, and Sustainable Economy, Kamayan Restaurant, and supported by
Forest Foundation.
Yes, Forest Foundation. Thank you very much. Forest Foundation Philippines. Okay, this is very special because this is the first time we're holding the State of Nature Assessment online. We've been bringing it around the Philippines for several years now. So before we proceed with the program, I would like to inform you or brief you about what's going to happen. The forum is divided into 4 segments for today. Usually it's 3, but since it's the SONA, we have 4. The first segment is when the presenters or the resource speakers make their presentations. No questions will be asked at this point. Please write down your questions so that you don't forget. And we go to the second segment. That's where you ask your questions. All the questions will be asked during the second segment. No answers will be given. It is the time of the resource speakers to take down the questions so that they can answer them. Those who do not want to ask questions verbally can write their questions through the chat box. The briefing on the open forum will be given when we come to the open forum, which is the second segment. Okay, and then the third segment is when the resource speakers respond to your questions and comments. The fourth segment is the presentation of the draft resolutions culled from the discussions, today's discussions during the SONA, Green SONA. Okay, so that's it. Those are the 4 segments, and I hope everything will run smoothly. Before we go to our speakers, our resource speakers, I would like to introduce the President of Green Convergence, Dr. Nina Galang, to give us the opening remarks.
Thank you, Marie. Marie Marciano is the Vice President of Green Convergence.
Thank you.
Friends, Green Convergence members, allies, co-stewards of God's creation. Welcome to the State of Nature Assessment, or Green SONA, of 2020. As you know, we hold this yearly as we assess the happenings around the country in the past 12 months. And as you know, in the past several SONAs, we've been going to different parts of the country to engage the different regions on our paradigm. But now we are in virtual Philippines, where we get together thanks to this Zoom technology. We can get together in spite of lockdowns, quarantines, and long distances. Needless to say, this year will be marked as a significant point in our country's history, which has been dominated by COVID-19. This virus has affected all the aspects of our lives, not least the environment. On the plus side, our air is cleaner, our birds' songs are louder, fossil fuel use is lower. On the negative side, so much of disposables are being manufactured and discarded. How are these being managed? On other sides or other areas, how are the other issues we advocate or advocate against doing? Mining is one of them, since this is a most impactful activity on the environment of our country. This has been one of our major advocacies from the very start. While the nation's attention is on health and economics, what has been happening in that area? Each of us surely have been introspecting while we are in this situation. How do we emerge, if emerge is the right word, from this pandemic? For us environmentalists, what lessons is nature teaching us? And how do we translate them into programs to promote sustainable development? We should have serious discussions on this in the months to come, when we have our General Assembly, our core planning, possibly other meetings. Our discussions should come up with a vision for a green new normal. For our future conversations, let this green SONA be the start. Thank you all for attending, and let's all have a good SONA.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you very much. At this point, I'm happy to welcome our co-moderator, Dr. Carlo Garcia, board member of Green Convergence and executive director of the Environmental Studies Institute of Miriam College. Hi, Carlo.
Hello, Marie.
Hi,
Isang
Carlo.
kasang pagbati sa iyo at sa mga kasama natin dito ngayon. It is always an honor to be part of this event and to co-moderate the process with you, Marie. I feel great being in the company of environmental champions and advocates today.
Well said, Carlo. And now, because we are, we have 4 guests, guest speakers, and that's really good. So we are going to be short of time if we speak too much. So I will go ahead and introduce our first speaker, who is an long-time colleague in the environmental movement. He has been an environmental activist for a long time, so you will see that he has a white beard already, has done so much. He is the current national coordinator of Alianza Tigil Mina. To talk about the current state of mining, please welcome JB Garganera. JB. Hello, JB.
Thank you, Miss Marie. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Salamat sa pagkakataon. Kami ay aktibo at proud na member ng Green Convergence, and masaya kami na hindi nawawala sa usapin ng Green Convergence yung isa nating central advocacy agenda, which is the mining issue. And historically, kaya naman ako na-involved sa mining issue because of Green Convergence taking up the issue, and specifically asking my mother organization at that time, PILDRA, together with Environmental Broadcast Circle and then Green Convergence, that we decided, the three of us, the mining issue had to be taken front and center. And Green Convergence and Environment Broadcast Circle was very instrumental in setting up the Mining Summit in 2005, which eventually led to the convening of Alianza Tigil Mina as a campaign. So I'm happy to be here and sharing this presentation. It's a kombinasyon ng hindi magandang balita, pero meron din namang mga magagandang updates, at we look forward to doing something productive and positive for a better new normal. So I will now share my screen. My presentation is about COVID-19 and the pandemic. So in the next 20 minutes, I hope to be talking about mining at a glance, what is happening now, some of the issues and challenges we are facing because of these two situations ng COVID and mining. Some good news. It's hard to move forward with the campaign if we do not claim our victories, and there have been victories that hopefully will inspire us to move forward and stand both with communities that are affected by these destructive projects, but also standing with nature and the environment. Let me just take back to memory lane. 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago, we were impressed, but now in hindsight, we realize we were taken for a ride. Pinaasa tayo sa isang pangako na pipigilan ang mapanirang pagmimina ng administrasyon na ito. Yun yung ating pagkakaalala at inaasahan. Ano yung datos natin? Right now, hindi naman ito masyado nagbabago even if the data is January 2019. I took a quick look at the MGB site kahapon, and it's almost the same number. There are 40 operating metallic mines all over the country, but take note, 5 officially 5 are suspended and 21 are canceled contracts. But all of them are operating. None has stopped even during this pandemic. They might have temporarily shut down at height of the pandemic, but by mid-May, every mine project has started to reopen. in numbers, nandiyan po, we're looking about more than 300 contracts that are live right now. And siguro these are about 700,000 hectares. Meaning po, 700,000 hectares of total Philippine land area are under mining tenements. And right now, when a mining contract is covering a land, that is practically the most powerful uh, instrument ng use ng land na yan. Kahit yan ay protected area or ancestral domain or agricultural land, if that is under a mining contract, chances are bubuksan yung lugar na yan. Some of you or most of you might have seen this. Just want to fresh how big the land use conflict is. And I'm just going to focus on two things: forest cover versus mining, and then later on yung protected areas and mining. We do have a lot of maps right now available, ancestral domains and even agricultural lands. And with the help of Pafid and Haribon, I'm not sure if they are here, but Pafid and Haribon are members of Alianza Tigil Mina, and they're also members of Green Convergence. These maps were produced by Pafid and Haribon. But let's take a look at forest cover. This is the remaining forest. The darker the green, the dense the forest is. And if you will notice, apat ang remaining forest corridor po natin sa Pilipinas. This is Sierra Madre. This is Palawan. This is Samar Island. And this is Caraga region. These are the lungs of the Philippines. And if we overlay the mining tenements, we could see there's almost coverage of the remaining. Ito, Samar, green siya ngayon because the two other mining there contracts were canceled before the time of Gina Lopez. So, I'm not sure if DENR is here right now. I know the Mines and Geosciences Bureau are upset whenever I show this map, and they tell me and they criticize ATM as saying, pero yung mga mining na yan are non-operational. And my response to them is, unless kinakancel nyo na yung mga mining contracts na yan, those will remain red. Dahil ibig sabihin yan, according to government according to MGB maps, these are where the mining are. And unless these mining contracts are cancelled, this will remain to be a conflict. Yan yung ating remain. Look at Palawan. Palawan is practically covered. This is Sierra Madre. More than half Caraga, our mining capital. Only Samar has been spared. But right now, even Samar is under threat. So that's forest cover. But let's look at a legal aspect of protected areas. These are areas declared as protection. Pero disclaimer po muna, hindi pa po kasama dito ang INAIPAS. First, these are the IBAs, the bird areas, important bird areas. Smaller than IBAs are KBAs, Key Biodiversity Area. Smaller are the protected area. By law, ito yung may declaration na po talaga. Part na po ito ng NAIPAS, itong dark purple na ito. Hindi pa po kasama dito ang e-NAIPAS, which were only recently passed last year. Mas malaki pa ito. Then let's cover mining. Tadaan! It's clear, meron pong overlap and conflict yung existing protected area declared by law by Philippine Congress. And yet these same areas were granted or overlaps with mining contracts. Therefore, we have clear conflicts. I will limit my map presentation there, but as I've said, marami po tayong maps and we use government data. Namin inimbento itong mga mapa na ito, and we can go as solid and as sharp as a municipal level. So if there are local government units who ask for land use conflict maps, humihingi lang kami ng pambili ng papel at tinta ng printer, we can provide them. with these maps up to the municipal level. Well, let me summarize the impact of mining that we have documented. This was has happened in the past years. Later on po, I will focus during the COVID-19 period in the past 4 months. But let me summarize in general first, what has been the basis of our resistance against mining. And largely, ang kalahatan, dahil nakikita natin yung masamang impact ng pagmimina. Una po, 1 out of 5 Filipinos belong to a poor family. And one of the correlations na nakita natin when economists from Ateneo and UP and LaSalle and UST, of course, have done economic studies of mining is that kung nasaan yung mahihirap, there are higher poverty rates in mining affected areas. We are not saying mining is the cause of poverty, but what available data is telling us, kung nasaan ang pagmimina, nandoon ang maraming mas mahihirap. Number 2, according to a PAFID map, 2/3 ng lupaing ninuno, 2 sa bawat 3 lupaing ninuno or ancestral domains are directly impacted by mining. And yet, the 2/3. But let's go to protected areas. According to a different separate map by Haribon, 50%, more than half ng protected areas and key biodiversity areas are directly impacted by mining. So, but let us remember, kung nasaan yung katutubo at nasaan yung protected area, yan po ang forest area natin. And now, those 3 distinct land uses, lupaing ninuno ng katutubo, protected areas, which are the same forest, they are impacted by mining. And yet, mining contributes less than 1% to our GDP. So, ang labo naman nun. Napakaliit ng ambag ng pagmimina, pero bakit natin pinaprioritize ito at malamang maapektuhan pa ang malaking bahagi ng ating ekonomiya? One troubling aspect of mining is really the human rights violations and the deaths. Within the network Alliance of Tigil Mina, these are natural deaths because of the mining accidents. But within ATM, for example, 17 deaths of our members and our leaders. 17 members or leaders of ATM have been killed or murdered because of our anti-mining stance. But a totally different aspect of these impacts are the mine accidents. We're all familiar with the classic example of Marinduque and what has happened in Itogon. In Naga, Cebu, and also the mine accidents in Caraga because of erosions and landslides and flash floods. But we think that the long-term, slow onset impact of mining to climate change is the hidden dark story. The more mining we allow, the more forests are gone, the more contamination of our rivers, the worse the impact to climate change. And without a doubt, we believe climate change is a driver of new diseases and pandemics. So there is that link. And hopefully, Paeng and the others can shed some more light on the links between deforestation, climate change, and the health impacts. Let me now focus on what has happened in the last 4 or 5 months. Ano po yung nakita natin ng mga issues sa pagmimina during the COVID-19 lockdown? Based on our documentation in our members and partners, we have seen an alarming increase of illegal mining activities na hindi natin nakikita noon pa. Pero nung gitna ng COVID, biglang dumami itong mga illegal mining activities na ito, lalo na coming from Chinese mining companies. We have seen them enter Leyte in the past month. Chinese companies proceeded with their ore transport and loading in Samar. And then we have seen them seek permits in Caraga. We have seen, number two, inconsistent government implementation of lockdown protocols. Very strict when it comes to non-essential economic activity, but somehow mining was allowed start operating again around late April. And this is quite hard to understand. Mining is a non-essential activity pero pinayagan po ang normal mining operations. In our case, tayo pong mga environmentalists at mga rights defenders, immobile tayo, we are restricted, we are observing quarantine, but government and mining companies are business as usual. So patuloy po yung pagbibigay ng permit ng mine activities. In fact, we have questionable permits being issued around March and April. Walang pasok ang gobyerno. Pwede mag-issue ng mga ore transport permit and even some preliminary permits for application in mining, especially in Leyte. That is very hard to understand. Walang pasok, holiday. Pero may mga lumabas na permit on specific dates na wala dapat pasok ang gobyerno. Some of the illegal mining activities we have documented. In Nueva Vizcaya, our member, Desama, and some of our Green Convergence member as well there, Social Action Center in Bayumbong, PRRM in Nueva Vizcaya, we're holding a sit-in protest para hindi po makapasok ang fuel tanks ng Oceana Gold. They were violently dispersed. The chairperson of Desama was arrested. And 2 weeks later, 15 members of the local organization were charged in court. But all of them the cases were dismissed later on. Illegal ore transport of nickel was recorded in Humonhon Island in Eastern Samar. There were illegal entry of mining equipment by a Chinese mining company in Leyte, in MacArthur, Leyte. And these are prime agricultural lands in MacArthur, Leyte. There are illegal construction activities inside the forest, sa loob ng gubat, doon sa Brooks Point, Palawan. Buti na lang, dito sa Palawan, dito po sa Nueva Vizcaya, kakampi natin ang mga local governments. That's why from the governor to the mayor, they were the very active and instrumental in stopping these illegal mining activities. Of course, when doing our own campaigns, we faced our own challenges, such as nahirapan tayo sa communication, tsaka logistics, knowing full well yung limited capacity ng mga community organizations natin, we realigned some of our budget. Diba po, wala yung mga travel budget tsaka conference budget ng Alyansa Tigil Mina, we anticipated na hindi na natin magagastos, hindi naman kami babiyahe for the rest of the year, hindi na rin tayo magpapatawag ng mga national activities. We realigned them to be given to our community partners. But kahit na nagplano tayo magbigay, sa sobrang hirap magpadala ng gamit, pagkain at pera doon sa community, we still had some very serious challenges in giving this support. Pinalakas natin yung communication at internet capacity ng mga nasa malalayong lugar. We bought some basics, smartphones, and pocket Wi-Fi para po makasali sa mga online meetings at makakuha ng information yung mga nasa isla at malalayong lugar. And especially, we wanted to make sure na yung mental at emotional health ng ating mga environmental activists is still strong and well taken care of. Some of the solutions we have tried, and most of the other Green Convergent members are part of this initiative as well. We are providing direct support to our local leaders. At this point na may pandemya, kailangan pong mas mapalakas yung kakayahan at kaalaman ng mga organisadong grupo natin, lalo na doon sa rural areas. We have activated our working groups. We have a women and mining working group. and an ITs and mining working group. Very active po sila. In fact, I want to share quickly yung ating women and mining working group. Meron silang tinatawag na mass texting na every week tinetext nila lahat women leaders natin ATM and the women indigenous groups what's the latest information about COVID, about human rights, about news. At meron din silang babayenihan. Every week may cultural online show, uh, spoken word, songs, music, especially ng mga katutubo, so that the feeling of connection and interaction between our women activists and environmentalists are retained even these trying times. Madalas po, merong kumustahan sessions, and syempre, just like Green Convergence, most of us has shifted to digital and social media campaigning. My last few slides will talk about this some good news and what are the things that we need to concerned about, and hopefully makonsider po later on meron tayong mga resolutions or next steps na consider as green convergence. So some good news, pagka po ang local government ay matino at nag-iisip at na-consider ang long-term na impact ng environment at natural resources, asahan natin na magiging matino ang kanilang decisions. And we are proud partners of local governments from Nueva Vizcaya, from Marinduque, from Masbate, South Cotabato, publicly and actively oppose mining contracts in their areas. Some courts are giving us some positive developments sa Nueva Vizcaya, Agusan del Norte, and Marinduque. Pag hinahabla or may libel case or tinethreaten yung ating mga environmental activists, the courts have given positive sides at dinidismiss yung mga trumped up charges against environmental activists. We have a growing international support for rights defenders in the Philippines. Of course, kaya marami mo suporta sa ating environmental activists dahil alam po ng buong mundo, number 2 ang Pilipinas sa pinakamaraming napatay na environmental activists in the whole world. We are number 2. We are the top Asian countries with most killings and murders with environmental activists. It's a sad fact, but because of that, a lot of international support is coming in for us not to lose the fight. And then sa private sector, I will give some credit where credit is due. There are some business associations who have opened up and started constructively engaging many of us environmental groups tungkol po sa business and human rights. I would like to flag these 5 major political issues. I'm not going to discuss them. I just want to be on our radar. We are environmental activists, but we are not operating in a vacuum. And I still see that these political issues play an important role on where the direction of environmental management is in the Philippines. Number 1, there is a tendency ng militaristic response to social and environmental issues with this government. Number 2, there is a disregard for our human rights obligations at masyadong minamaliit yung konsepto ng human rights. I know we understand very well ecological and environmental rights. My personal belief is that most of these ecological, economic, social, and cultural rights are embedded on human rights itself. Third, we have this weak governance and capacity of government. At well, many of us believe this is a fascist government using fascist tools to confuse and sow discord among us Filipinos. I personally believe that Congress is compromised by business and corporate interests. I mean, I can name congressmen and senators who are beneficial owners of mining companies or who have benefited from financial contribution by mining companies noong 2016 and 2019. And of course, hindi mo aasahan itong mga to na susuportahan ng environmental agenda. Right now, our assessment, the Anti-Terrorism Act or the Anti-Terror Law, death penalty and chacha are serious challenges that we face. So what do we think we can possibly do together? Number one, as environmental organizations, you have to make sure yung staff natin and the community partners, the NY activists, have their wellness and their well-being taken care of. This is public health crisis we're facing. We need public health response. So both yung personal health tsaka yung emotional and mental health ng ating environmental activists and the staff have to be taken care of. We need to be conscious of a post-pandemic scenario. Baka ginagamit itong pandemya para isulong ang iba pang agenda, like Chacha. I got word this morning, may ilulunsad bukas sa Central Luzon na ang tawag ay People's Coalition for a Revolutionary Government. And this is being spearheaded by the President Rodrigo Roa Duterte movement. They will launch tomorrow a movement to demand from Malacanang to declare a revolutionary government that will last until December 31, 2021. And that is a very problematic public tool that is going to be launched tomorrow. And they're going to use the pandemic as an excuse to pursue that agenda. Number three is a practical thing. I'm happy we have shifted to digital and online campaigning and meeting. Marami po sa ating mga communities do not have this privilege of being able to participate in online and digital platforms. We have to make sure that they have the same access and the same ability for them to contribute to our own advocacy work. And of course, generating national and international solidarity. I have always been mesmerized by the fact that Kamayan para sa Kalikasan is 30 years old. Those are the seeds na dapat padamihin pa natin, and that solidarity has to be nurtured. We do have specific recommendations on mining. Please take note later on. You can pick some of these recommendations. Number one, yesterday po was the first year death anniversary of Gina Lopez. She passed away August 19, 2019. And the government is going to reverse the mining suspensions and cancellations she issued. We should be opposite of the mining suspensions and cancellations. Alyansa Tigil na, with due respect to any DENR official in this webinar, we reject the DNR recommendation that mining and river dredging is part of the economic stimulus, that stimulus and recovery program for COVID-19. We demand the ban on open pit mining. This has been promised by Duterte since 2016, and we support local governments who are opposed to mining. Some general recommendations outside of mining. We hope the green bills will be enacted. Sana Congress will really do some serious legislative work, and hopefully the green bills can be prioritized. We reject Chacha and federalism. Maybe later, not on this administration. We support the revocation of the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020. The Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 will introduce more risk and threats to environmental activists. And number two na nga po tayo sa buong mundo ng pinakamaraming napapatay at pinapatay na environmental activists. The Anti-Terrorism Act, dadagdag lang po sa mga banta na hinaharap natin. We ask that SEC Memorandum Circular number 15 be rescinded. Ito po yung requirement ng SEC na i-disclose ng mga NGOs at non-profit organizations ang lahat ng ating mga telepono, bank accounts, addresses, even to the community level na siniservisyohan natin. This is an unnecessary risk exposing all our leaders na later on baka gamitin for tagging. And number 5, a call to corporations, they must employ human rights due diligence. If corporations can do accounting due diligence to keep track of their profits or their cost and benefits, they must be able to track of their human rights obligations, or if in fact they are doing harm to communities. I will end there. I hope that sharing was able to give some picture and clarity on what COVID-19 and mining are bringing us new challenges and but also new opportunities to move forward with our green agenda. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, JB. It's always a pleasure working with you. And now we are going straight away to our next speaker. To introduce him, we have Dr. Carlo Garcia again.
Our next speaker, a longtime friend, is an advocate for waste reduction and environmental stewardship. He is the Zero Waste Program Officer of Eco Waste Coalition, here to discuss the state of municipal solid waste, especially during this pandemic. Please welcome Jobito or Job Benosa.
Maraming salamat, Carlo, at isang makakalikasang hapon po sa ating lahat. Kami po ay natutuwa na maging bahagi sa napakalaking event na ito. Gusto ko pong pangunahan na ang usapin po ng global pandemic na ito ay isang napakalaking usapin din sa kalikasan at kalinisan ng ating kapaligiran. So, let me share my screen. Okay na ba? Is it?
Yes, it's okay.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Let's start the
You're on.
slideshow. Okay. Sige. So, basically, I will talk about municipal solid waste management sa panahon ng kasalukuyang pandemya. At ang pag-uusapan natin, o aking ibabahagi, ay yung mga kasalukuyang usapin na aming nakikita at ilang mga challenges na nakita namin sa pag-iikot namin sa aming mga lugar, no? Lalo-lalo na sa mga punong lungsod dito sa ating bansa. Magbabahagi din kami ng ilang mga positibo o uptrends na nakikita namin na para hindi rin masabi na lahat na lang negatibo yung ang nangyari sa ating lipunan. At sa pangatlo, ibabahagi din namin yung ilang rekomendasyon na sa kasalukuyan ay aming tinututukan sa Eco Waste Coalition. At bandang huli, yung aming panawagan para sa kolektibong aksyon para sa atin pong lahat. Okay. Kami po sa Eco Waste Coalition ay naghahanap ng bagong datos o impormasyon kung ilan talaga na yung volume, yung nalilikha nating basura ngayong mga panahon na ito. Pero sa kasamaang palad, wala po kaming nakikitang bagong nilalabas na impormasyon mula sa mga lead agencies. Kaya sinikap naming mag-ikot sa aming mga komunidad at i-document yung ilang nakikita naming mga larawan ng pamamahala o kawalan ng pamamahala sa basura. At tulad nga sa nakikita natin sa slides, ilan sa nakita natin yung talamak pa rin yung pagtatapon ng mga gamit na face mask, mga karton, at nalalahok ito sa mga pangkaraniwang basura. Nag-ikot kami sa aming mga komunidad sa Barangay Baseco, sa Barangay Muson sa Alfonso Cavite. Ganon din yung aming team sa Cagayan de Oro, Davao at saka Cebu, at pare-parehas po yung aming mga natutuklasan. Ito pong pictures na to, ito pong larawan pong nakikita nyo ay larawan po yan sa Barangay Baseco, na kung saan doon po sa beach area mismo namin nakita yung tambak ng basurang nakita natin sa larawan. So indeed, malaking problema pa rin yung littering at saka patuloy na pagtatapon ng basura sa kung saang mga critical na lugar. At kalimitan yung mga basurang katulad nito na tinatawag natin highly infectious ay nahahalo din sa mga pangkaraniwang basura na siguro magdudulot ng dagdag na takot at pangamba sa atin, kasi lalo pat nasasabay din sa panahon ng tag-ulan, lubhang mas mapinsala pa ang posibleng maging epekto nito sa ating kalusugan at sa ating kapaligiran. Nagpapatunay din ito na talagang wala pa rin talagang sumusunod sa maayos na paghihiwa-hiwalay o segregation ng basura na siya sanang tungkulin nating lahat para ma-address ang maayos na pamamahala sa basura. Ang nakalap lang naming datos mula sa National Solid Waste Management Commission ay yung datos na galing mismo sa huling draft status report ng 2015, na kung saan may projection silang binahagi na sinasabi meron daw around 16.6 million metric tons ng basura ngayong taon ng 2020. At dito sa 16.6 million metric tons ng basura ay halos 1/4 ay nanggagaling sa Metro Manila. At siguro kung idadagdag pa natin itong panahon ng trahedya, maaaring hindi na to tama. Kaya nag-research pa rin tayo, at mula doon sa aming paghahanap ng bagong informasyon, nakita natin at nakatulong yung data mula sa Asian Development Bank na nagsasabi na meron pong nadadagdag na around 280 metric tons per day na mga medical at infectious waste. At lalo dito sa particular sa Metro Manila, around 16,800 metric tons. Ayan ang napuproduce nitong huling 60 araw o the past 60 days. So nakakatakot po ito, kasi ibig sabihin talagang naglipa na yung mga maling paggamit at pagtatapon ng mga basurang highly infectious. Isang dagdag din na problema na nakikita natin, at yun ngang hindi nakakatulong, ay merong mga ilang local governments na dati nagkaroon na sana ng mga ordinansa patungkol sa pagbaban ng mga single-use plastic sa kanilang mga pinamamahalaang lugar. Ngunit sa kasalukuyan ay parang pinahihinto ito or siniset aside. In particular po dito sa Quezon City, supposed to be ngayong July, dapat sana for full implementation na to ng lahat ng sa buong lungsod, ng lahat ng mga commercial establishments at saka mga residente. Pero ito po'y parang sinet aside muna o pinapark ng punong lungsod ng Quezon City dahil sa parang hindi nila nakikita yatang makakatulong pa ito. Dagdag din na nakita natin ay nung mga unang bugso ng pandemya, ng lockdown, ay sabay din na pinasasara yung mga recycling facilities o yung mga junk shops at saka mga material recovery facility na sa tingin namin lalo pang nagdagdag sa pagpapalala ng problema. Ibig sabihin, hindi talaga nahahakot ng mabuti yung mga basurang mapanganib, lalo din na nagluklok sa matinding kahirapan at kawalan ng trabaho sa ating mga kolektor ng basura o sa mga informal na waste sector na tinuturing nating mga frontliners. Nakita din natin na dahil nga sa nahinto yung ating mga waste collectors sa pagkakalkal ng basura at dahil karimitan sa kanila ay mga tinuturing na isang kahig, isang tuka, lalo pang sumidhi yung antas ng kahirapan sa kanila. Hindi rin nakatulong na yung kwento ng mga junk shop na nung nagsara yung mga junk shop o pinasara yung recycling facility, bumagsak din yung presyo ng mga kalakal. Ito po yung mga kalakal na tinatawag natin na plastic at bote, papel, na sabi nga nila siguro dahil sa may risko ng pandemya o sakit, talagang nakapagpabagsak pa sa presyo, sa kasalukuyang presyo ng mga kalakal. At sa mga in particular po sa ating mga nasa waste sector, nakita din natin na sila bilang mga frontliner, kabilang sa ating mga health workers, ay karamihan sa kanila ay walang maayos na proteksyon o gamit o kahit man lang benefits o pangdagdag sa kanilang welfare para nga magawa nila yung kanilang trabaho bilang mga frontliners. At dahil dito, talaga nakita natin na isa yung sektor ng mga waste collector at informal waste sector na kailangang tutukan ng ating pagtulong. Magpaganon pa man, may nakita rin naman tayong mga ilang mga positibo na pwede nating sabihin na nagdulot ng konting kasiyahan sa atin dahil sa una, marami yung biglaang nagka-interes sa pagtatanim dahil siguro naka-lockdown, may walang pwedeng ibang posibleng gawin, kaya nakita yung kahalagahan na bakit hindi na lang tayo magtanim at yung ating mga kakainin ay mula mismo sa ating mga ginagarden. So nauso yung mga plantito, plantita na yun nga yung parang ikinatutuwa yung kanilang mga harvest mula sa kanilang mga bakuran. At nagkaroon din ng tulong na mamulat sa ating mga kababayan yung kahalagahan na sana magkaroon ng maayos na savings o kaya tawag dito dagdag na pagkakakitaan para nga nang sa ganon maitawid sa gutom yung kanilang mga pamilya, lalo pat napakahirap na yung mga yung kalagayan sa kasalukuyan. So may mga ilang panukala kaming isinusulong sa kasalukuyan. Itong panukala na ito ay maaaring hindi na bago para sa atin at patuloy din itong binibigyan naming diin sa kasalukuyan. Ngayon na panahon ng pandemya, sa tingin namin at panawagan namin kailangang pagtutukan pa rin na mamulat ng ating mga kababayan na mag-segregate ng maayos at maingat ng kanilang mga basura, pati na rin ang ilang mga commercial establishments. Napakahalagang matutunan ng ating mga kababayan yung maayos na at maingat na pagtatapon ng mga disposable surgical mask na ginagamit ng mga health workers at saka ilang mga karaniwang mamamayan natin at ilang pang mga personal protective gears at maingat sana itong naitatabi at naisisilid sa tamang lalagyan o kaya na mamarkahan para mahakot ng mga collectors at hindi na makahawa pa at magdudulot ng dagdag na pinsala sa ating mga waste collectors. Tumutulong din tayo na sana katulad ng ina-advise din sa atin ng World Health Organizations na yung reusable at washable face mask ay epektibo. Pinapanawagan natin na sana imbes na mga disposable face mask ang gamitin, pwede tayong yung mga pangkaraniwang mamamayan natin, kung hindi naman halimbawa sila mga frontline health workers, ay mainam din gumamit ng mga reusable face masks at pwede nila itong gamitin ng maayos at maingat nang sa ganoon makakatulong sila sa hindi na pagdadagdag pa ng lumalalang sitwasyon sa basura. Panukala din po sana namin na sana magkaroon ng maayos na gamit sa kalusugan at maayos na sanitasyon tulad ng sabon at tubig, sapat na tubig para sa paghuhugas ng ating mga health workers at yung mga pangkaraniwang mamamayan. Para nang sa ganun, dobleng pag-iingat yung ating magagawa at malaking tulong sa atin ito na hindi na pa lumaganap yung pandemyang ito. Para naman sa mga local government units, sinusulong namin at nakikipagtulungan kami sa ilang mga punong lungsod dito sa ating bansa tulad sa Maynila, sa Caloocan, sa Navotas, sa Makati, sa Cebu, Davao at maging sa Cagayan de Oro na gumamit ng mga reusables, lalong-lalo na sa mga pangkaraniwang mamamayan na dahil na rin sa ito ay ini-endorse rin ng World Health Organization na effective at ito'y makakatulong doon sa hindi na pagpapadagdag ng lumalalang sitwasyon sa basura. At kung sakali man gagamit ng mga disposable PPEs, mainam sana na matutunan natin yung maayos na pagsisegregate ng basura at paghihiwalay nito, pagsisilid sa tamang lalagyan para nang sa ganon hindi na makadulot ng dagdag na pinsala. Pinapanawagan din namin yung paggamit ng tamang personal protective equipment para sa ating mga waste collectors o tinuturing nating mga frontliners. Ganon din yung tamang pagtuturo sa kanila ng mga tamang pamamaraan kung paano ito gamitin dahil alam naman natin yung ating mga waste collectors ay kahit nabigyan natin ng ganitong mga gamit ay talagang hindi sanay na gumamit sa ganito. Kaya lang para sa kanilang proteksyon, kailangan makumbinsi natin sila na gamitin ito para sa kanilang proteksyon at kalusugan. Isinusulong din namin sa aming mga kampanya na maglagay ng mga hand washing stations at mga gamit na para sa sanitation protection para sa mga ating mga waste collectors. At tulong na rin sa counseling para sakali mga sila ay magkasakit o magkaroon ng mga ibang nararamdaman. Ganon din, panawagan po din po namin na sana mabigyan sila ng kaukulang kompensasyon, lalong-lalo na kung sakali man sila magkasakit dahil dito sa pandemya, matulungan sila dahil sa kung sakali man sila magkasakit, napakahirap na malagay pa sila sa dagdag na kahirapan. At sana ganun din buong pamilya nila mabigyan din ng tamang kalinga at suporta mula sa ating mga local government units o kaya sa mga private companies na kanilang kinabibilangan. Kasama rin sa aming panawagan yung pagkakaroon ng hazard pay sa kanila dahil bilang mga frontliners, ang kanilang trabaho ay hindi ordinaryo. hindi lahat ng tao ay kayang gampanan yung kanilang mga ginagawang tungkulin sa araw-araw. Kaya napakahalagang mabigyan sila ng kaukulang benepisyo tulad ng suporta sa hazard pay. Sa ating pambansang pamahalaan, pinapanawagan din namin na sana katulad ng naipangako sana at pinag-isipan ng ating Pangulo nung September last year, magkaroon na sana ng national ban on single-use plastic at ilang mga plastic packaging para makatulong na sana doon sa lumalalang plastic pollution na patuloy na pumipinsala sa ating paligid. At makakatulong din sa atin kung ang ating pamahalaan ay i-acknowledge yung ating mga waste workers, yung ating nasa sektor ng mga kolektor, na sila ay bahagi din sa mga frontline at malaki ang ginagampan ng trabaho. Kaya ang benepisyo sana na dapat maiukol sa kanila ay dapat maibigay. Dagdag na suporta din ang aming pinapanawagan, lalong-lalo na sa mga gamit at mga material na proteksyon at pasilidad para sa kanilang paggampan ng trabaho ay hindi na sila mahahawa pa sa anumang posibleng sakit. Sinisikap din natin na ipanawagan na sana magkaroon ng rapid access to testing, COVID-19 testing at treatment yung ating mga waste collectors sakali man sila magkasakit kasi mahalaga po yung kanilang mga ginagampan ng trabaho. At yung kasama na dito yung pagbibigay ng mga social protection benefits tulad ng SSS, PhilHealth, 4Ps at maayos na education. Bilang mga panghuli, kasama sa aming rekomendasyon at hinihinging panukala ay sana magarantiyahan yung ating mga waste workers sa kanilang trabaho, lalong-lalo na sa kanilang paggampan ng trabaho dahil ang trabaho nila ay hazardous, nasa gilid sila ng panganib, nasa frontline sila, kaya kailangang mabigyan sila ng kaukulang pansin. At kung pwede, masama sila, mahingi yung kanilang representasyon sa mga pagpupulong at sa pag-uusap, lalong-lalo na sa pagpaplano ng ating pamahalaan para mas higit na makatulong sa pag-a-address ng kanilang kondisyon at saka sa tiyak na pagbibigay ng maayos na kalusugan sa kanila sa panahon nitong may pandemya. Bilang panghuli at ang parang pinaka panawagan namin na para sa kolektibong aksyon, gusto po naming iwanan, gusto ko pong magbigay ng mensahe galing sa Laudato Si mula sa sinabi rin ni Pope Francis. At ito po'y sinabi niya, this lack of physical contact and encounter, encouraged at times by the disintegration of our cities, can lead to a numbing of conscience and to tendentious analysis which neglect parts of reality. At times, this attitude exists side by side with a green rhetoric. Today, however, we have to realize that a true ecological approach always becomes a social approach. It must integrate questions of justice in debates on the environment so as to hear both the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. Yan lamang po ang aking mababahagi. Maraming salamat po at thank you po sa pakikinig.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Job Benosa. Eco Waste Coalition is a member of Green Convergence. And now, meron na naman tayong isa pang special resource speaker. He's an advocate for the environment, or he has been an advocate, environmental advocate since his college days. Pumuti na ang buhok niya dito sa environment. At it has always been a pleasure working with him. He has worked for several environmental NGOs na nag-hopping na siya, NGO hopping across the country. Currently, he works with the Healthcare Without Harm Asia. To discuss COVID medical waste, please welcome Paeng Lopez. Paeng?
Maraming salamat, Tita Marie, and good afternoon po sa lahat ng sumasapi sa atin ngayong hapon, nanonood or nakikinig dito sa ating Green SONA. And I thank Green for Convergence for inviting me again para po maging kabahagi nitong Green SONA natin. So isi-share ko lang din po yung screen ko para po makita ng lahat yung aking presentation. Nakikita po ba?
Hindi pa.
So po, naka-share na siya.
To double click.
Yes, from my end, it says I am already sharing my screen.
Okay, it's coming.
So nakikita niyo na ba?
Yes.
Medyo
may lag.
Yeah, it's coming na.
Alright, sige po. Ayan.
Konti pa.
Sige.
It's blocked.
Sige po. Sige. So, bago rin po ako mag-start siguro, i-layout ko lang po yung aking discussion. No? So, maiksi lang naman din po yung aking discussion as most of the information that everyone joining us today needs to know has been discussed by Jove already. No? So, karagdagan na lang po yung from my end, yung aking i-discuss with special attention lang on yung healthcare waste. So, yung first part po ng aking discussion would be yung estado ng medical waste natin ngayon. And then, a brief discussion then on how the Department of Health is responding to the crisis. As well as DNR na din po. And then, ano rin po yung mga ginagawa ng hospitals ngayon and with special attention din doon sa mga alternatives na ginagawa ng mga hospitals or yung mga best practices that we hope would snowball to affect or para mahawa din yung ibang mga hospitals na currently ay humaharap doon sa problema ng mounting medical waste problems. And then, of course, yung ating mga recommendations or what we can do. Yan. So, ito po yung source po. So, just to want to let you know na ang source po natin dito ay yung Healthcare Waste Manual ng DOH, no? Which was released early this year, nitong April lang. So this is quite fresh itong information natin ito. But it gives us a glimpse of how medical waste is composed, yung mga nanggagaling po dun sa mga hospital natin. So you would see the gray area constitutes the general waste. So ito po yung talagang marami doon sa hospital. So mostly ito po yung tinatawag natin na mga yung mga unnecessary na waste doon sa operations ng hospital. Which means to say na karamihan po dito ay yung mga nanggagaling sa cafeteria or doon sa ibang mga tanggapan ng ospital, kagaya ng papel, etc. na which would constitute yung mga general waste. And then of course, you have the pathological and then the infectious waste, yung mga nasa yellow and mustard yellow. So malaking composition din po doon yung itong dalawa na ito, no. So ito yung general picture ng mga basura na nanggagaling po doon sa ating mga healthcare facilities. So before po the pandemic struck, yung itsura na nung ating healthcare waste ngayon ay lumalabas na ayon sa pag-aaral ay nasa mahigit kumulang 47 metric tons yung napoproduce natin daily. And pwede natin itong isipin in conjunction doon po sa pinresent ni Jove kanina na pag-aaral na nilabas din ni ADB, no, na 280 tons of waste yung sa kabuuan. So which includes yung um, medical waste, yung dumuduktong ngayon dito. So lumalaki po siya. And of course, because of the pandemic, itong amount na ito or volume of waste na napoproduce ng ating mga hospital or health facilities appears to be burgeoning or lumalaki siya. It's increasing, no. And ang what's scary about this is that it appears that about 56% of this waste nga is considered infectious. But there's an even scarier na nuance dito sa problema na to. At ito yung i-discuss ko a bit later, no. So just to let you know, ito yung po yung more or less yung itsura ng gastos ng mga ospital natin sa ngayon, no. So yung example po ay PGH, more or less ang ginagastos po nila every month ay 1.2 to 1.3 million pesos every month, no. So ito po ay noong pumasok na especially yung COVID dito sa Pilipinas. So para lang po sa kaalaman din ng mga nakikinig sa atin. So kung ang isang set halimbawa ng PPE ay tinataya natin na nasa 1,200%. So that means yung coveralls, mask, gloves, pati yung protection sa paa. So lumalabas dito kung i-compute lang natin sa 1.2 million, you can already buy 1,000 pieces, no, or 1,000 sets of PPEs. So ganun po kalaki yung nawawala doon sa ability ng ating mga ospital na magkaroon ng karagdagang PPEs, especially ngayong pandemya, no, ang nawawala sa kanila dahil ipinambabayad lang nila doon sa waste disposal. So kung ang halaga na ito ay matitipid ng mga ospital, ma-augment nun yung kanilang kakayahan sana na makabili pa noong mga PPEs na very, very needed, especially ngayon. Panahon na to, no, especially ngayong mga nakaraang linggo na kung saan nakikita po natin na napaka-steep noong pagtaas noong cases natin sa Pilipinas. So it's really scary. And kung kaya nga po, again, kung kaya matipid ng ospital itong halaga na ito, no, na nilalabas nila every month, then that would mean an extra savings for the hospital, and it also would mean an extra ability for the hospital to purchase yung PPEs that they badly need ngayong pandemic. So ito yung binabanggit ko po kanina na nakakatakot na nuance doon sa problema, nitong problema natin sa basura ngayon. So kung ang sinasabi natin ay nasa 280 million metric tons yung napoproduce natin ng waste, maybe, no, ang isa pong dahilan dito ay yung tendency ngayon ng mga ospital to treat all types of waste as infectious waste. So ang ibig sabihin lamang po nito ay kung ang ospital prior to the pandemic are able to recover yung mga nare-repair, nare-repurpose, na nare-recycle, nako-compost, etc. For their own purposes, no. And mind you, marami pong ospital na gumagawa nito and they're actually earning enough para maging pampasweldo sa kanilang maintenance staff or pampabili ng ibang pangangailangan ng ospital. And now, wala na yung ability na yon because all of a sudden they need to treat everything as infectious waste, no. So kinukwento rin po ito actually nung isa naming partner na government hospital, nang sinasabi nila na because yung ospital nila ay virtually entirely a red zone, so lahat halos ng mga basura na nilalabas nila ay infectious waste. So ang laki po, 80% yung itinaas ng kanilang cost sa disposal alone. So ganun po kalaki yung nagiging problema. So if you look at the figures, and if we are to trust the figures that ADB, revealed or declared or shown to us, ang ibig sabihin lamang po nito ay kung i-unravel natin or i-unbox natin itong figures na to, ay makikita natin na hindi entirely lahat yun ay PPEs. So malaki yung contribution dyan noong mga dati-rati ay napapakinabangan na na panapon, no? Maraming bahagi nun ay mga panapon na kapaki-pakinabang, subalit because of the fear, no, na baka potentially infectious itong mga ito, ay naisasama sila ngayon doon sa infectious waste. Na dalawa ang ibig pong sabihin yan. Naturally, ang ibig sabihin yan ay dumadami yung waste na lumalabas doon sa ospital, and the hospital needs to pay a premium price dahil ang hindi po pantay-pantay yung halaga ng basura, or halaga ng basura na hino-haul from the hospital. So depending on the type of waste na ilalabas from the hospital, may kaakibat po na halaga ang mga iyan. And yung pinakamahal po na kinakarga ng mga partners nila na waste collectors ay yung mga infectious waste. So ibig sabihin, they need to pay premium all of a sudden for paper, plastic, bottles, etc. that they're treating as infectious waste at the moment. So ang ibig sabihin lang po niyan ay, boom, number two, ayan, dumadami yung basura na lumalabas sa kanila, and naturally, lalaki rin po yung gastos ng mga ospital. Which again, just to emphasize, at the moment, ay hindi kailangan ng mga ospital na danasin. Dahil po ang kailangan talaga ng mga ospital natin ngayon ay yung ability na magamit kung ano man yung meager resources na meron tayo towards addressing yung main problem, which is yung COVID, no? So hindi po nagagawa yan na nababawasan po yung kakayahan ng mga ospital natin na magresponde ng maayos dahil nga po yung bahagi nung pondo na mayroon sila ay napupunta doon sa pagtapon lamang or pag-manage lamang ng mga basura na meron sa kanila na hindi dapat. So hindi natin kailangan, of course, sisihin po yung mga ospital dito, no? Kailangan lamang po nilang sumunod sa panuntunan ng WHO and DOH na kailangan ituring talaga na infectious waste itong mga ito, no? Sapagkat ayaw natin din na magkaroon ng pagkakataon na may makawala na infectious waste doon sa kanilang mga nilalabas sa ospital, and then yun yung maging dahilan kung bakit dumami palalo yung marami ng kaso natin ng COVID-19. But then this brings me again to the fact that prior to COVID-19, hospitals have been, no, yung ibig sabihin lahat ng ospital sa Pilipinas they have experiences already on how to treat yung or how to manage yung iba't ibang infection na meron silang kaso na hinahandle. So I'm talking about, for example, HIV or hepatitis, etc. So ang daming kaso na nakakahawa na dumaan sa ospital. But traditionally, our hospitals are able to manage this very well, di ba? So ang nangyayari lang po dito ay all of a sudden parang nagkaroon ng paranoia, but the hospitals really they need to take a step back and trust kung ano man yung meron silang protocols na meron dati ang ospital nila. So, 'di ba, bago naman po magka-COVID-19 ay merong pollution control officer ang ospital, meron ding infection control officer, meron silang infection control and pollution control protocols na sinusunod. And this should be enough. Ito ay dapat sumasapat na para matugunan yung kung anumang pangamba yung mayroon sila. And maybe couple this, no, with other extra steps. But this should address yung problema na to at mabawasan yung cost, especially ng mga ospital, para matugunan ng maayos, again, yung kanilang problema sa kakulangan ng PPEs sa kanilang pasilidad. So, ano po ba yung ginagawa nga ng DOH? So, I've said nitong April, nilabas po ng DOH yung healthcare waste manual, no. So just to give you a history nitong healthcare waste manual na to. So the Healthcare Without Harm has been actively involved, no, doon sa pag susulat nitong healthcare waste manual na to simula po nung first edition pa. So yung first edition nitong manual na to may medyo heavy pa po yung tendency or yung bias ng DOH towards waste incineration, and then because of RE 9003 and yung patuloy na pakikipagtrabaho natin sa kanila, yung versions editions 2 and 3 po ay pakikita po talaga na bumaba yung pagbigkas doon sa waste incineration. Unfortunately, ito pong fourth edition ngayon ng manual, it appears na bumalik ulit, no? Yung incineration bounced back. So, ang dami pong discussions na nakalaan dito sa manual na to na dinidiscuss po yung iba't ibang anyo ng waste incineration or yung tinatawag natin na incinerators in disguise, no? May saving grace naman po yung manual. Hindi natin sinasabi na ito ay entirely useless. Marami po pa ring discussion on autoclave, on microwave, etc., etc., and kung paano maayos na pangasiwaan yung basura nga na nanggagaling sa mga ospital. Unfortunately lang, ang gusto lang namin i-underscore ay bumalik, it seems. No, naging part again of the options yung pagsusunog ng basura. Maganda lang dito po ay yung binabanggit doon sa manual, nasa unahang-unahang bahagi nitong manual, yung prinsipyo ng duty of care, no, ng ospital, that says na merong responsibilidad lahat ng healthcare facilities na masiguro lahat ng processes, etc., or systems na ginagawa nila ay hindi na makakadagdag pa doon sa problema ng mga tao sa kalusugan at yung sa problema natin sa kapaligiran. So magandang balik-balikan ito every now and then when we read the healthcare waste management manual, especially if we work in partnership with health facilities, no, to make them realize na if there are better options out there, then perhaps or it should be, no, mandatory na yun yung kuhain nila over yung mga tinatawag nga natin na mga false solutions. So ito po yung ayan. So yan, nirundown ko lang po kung ano yung mga things to see kung gusto po ninyong basahin yung healthcare waste management manual ng DOH, kung saan yung mga parts na bumalik po yung discussions on waste incineration. So it's scary, but it's also on the in one hand dahil nga may discussion only on incineration, but on the other hand, makikita rin po natin yung improvements, no, ng mga processes na kinikilala ng DOH na environmentally sound doon sa manual na ito. So if may pagbabalanse po na kailangan gawin po yung makakabasa para mas maintindihan kung ano yung mas i-recommenda rin natin or gusto nating sundin kung tayo po ay nakikipagtrabaho dun sa mga health facilities. But ito po yung ginagawa ngayon ni DOH. And part pa rin po noong yung greening of the health facilities na initiative po ng DOH ngayon. In fact, meron pong partnership ang Healthcare Without Harm and DOH, no, para po i-audit yung kanilang mga ospital or apat sa kanilang mga ospital ngayon upang makita talaga. So we want to be able to come out with yung exact figures nung mga basura na nanggagaling po ngayon doon sa ating mga health facilities. And hopefully after magawa yung project na yun, so meron talaga tayong report na yun, yung amount or ano yung epekto ni COVID-19 dun sa actual na numbers nung nilalabas na basura noong ating mga ospital, and come out of course with recommendations kung paano natin ito mababawasan, kung mataas or ma-maintain or may improve kung ito ay maganda na. Ayan. Ano naman po yung mga magandang practices na meron on the other hand? So is it all problematic? And I would say no. So yung Healthcare Without Harm po ay may mga excuse me, iba't ibang mga members or doon sa tinatawag naming Global Green and Healthy Hospitals. So these are our healthy hospitals, and and we're very proud na isa doon sa mga tumugon ng maayos doon sa challenge ni COVID-19 ay yung St. Paul Hospital in Iloilo. So kagandahan din po dito ay yung kanilang CEO, no, yung kanilang hospital administrator, mahaba na po yung kanyang experience and actually reputation, no, sa lahat ng ospital na hinahawakan niya. All of a sudden the policies of the hospital become green. And hindi po na iba yun nung napunta siya sa Iloilo. So she's very well aware of the things that she needs to do pagdating po doon and she recognized na yun nga tumataas yung problema nila sa waste. So one of the things that they did was to come out with or manufacture their own reusable PPEs. So gumamit po sila ng ito pong suot-suot ng mga frontline health workers natin na ito ay yung kanilang mismong PPEs na ginawa noong ospital, no. So kung before COVID-19 ang ginagastos po nila sa PPEs kasi ang ano po bumibili rin naman sila ng PPEs dati. So sa kanila ko po nakuha yung figure na 1,200 per set. Pero dahil po yun nga nag-invest sila sa reusable na PPEs, ang cost po nito per set lumalabas sa kanila ay parang nasa ano lang po, nasa 500 per set. So ang laki po nung difference. So entirely gumastos po sila nag-invest sila ng 416,000 roughly para po dun sa lahat ng PPEs na kanilang ginawa, no. But in a matter of 3 months, so that means from April to July, they were able to recuperate everything and more kasi dahil nakatipid po sila doon sa pag-purchase nga ng PPEs at 1,200 per set, no. So malaki po yung natipid nila. So in 3 months nabawi na nila 'yan. Actually yung savings nila ay umabot ng 550,000 mahigit. So yan po yung natitipid nila ngayon doon. Tapos on top of that, dahil po bumaba din yung kanilang waste na nilalabas. So dati bago po sila maglabas ng basura, ang ginagastos po nila at 60 pesos per kilo, no, yung waste na nilalabas or yung binabayaran nila sa disposal. Ngayon po nakatipid sila dahil nga maliit yung basurang nilalabas nila. Yung gastos nila dati na umaabot ng nasa 10,700,000 a month. So malaki po yung nabawasan. Hindi na po nila nagagastos ngayon yan dahil nga po hindi na sila naglalabas ng disposable PPEs simula April. So ganun po kalaki yung na-avoid nila na basura. So that's on PPEs alone, no. So kung susuriin po natin yung ginagawa ng hospital, mas marami pa po sila mga green practices. But in terms of waste management, napakalaki po nung contribution noong ospital doon sa pagbabawas or no kanilang green consciousness doon sa pagbabawas ng basura. And it's something that can be very easily be replicated by all the hospitals, no. So ito yung gusto natin sana na ma-encourage ni DOH and ni DENR doon sa mga problemang hinaharap natin ngayon na magtulong-tulong tayo na i-propose na ang gamitin ng mga ospital ay reusable para entirely hindi lang tayo mura sa pag-dispose ng basura, entirely makakaiwas talaga tayo sa pagpo-produce ng basura. So yan po yung ginagawa ng isang kaso ng ospital na with green practices, no, in terms of waste management. So ano po yung gusto natin ngayon na magawa moving forward? So one, I'd like to remind again, kung merong frontline health workers na nakikinig sa atin ngayon, to be able to trust their infection and pollution control protocols. So yung protocols na meron yung mga hospitals in place can be trusted. Kung hindi nagkaroon ng outbreak sa kanilang hospital before this pandemic, then that means yung kanilang practices ay working and then they can trust that. Secondly, gusto natin sabihin na yun, i-strengthen din nila yung kanilang waste management protocol. So kung meron na po ang mga ospital, baka ang kailangan lang din po ay creativity, no? Yung panindigan natin, yung kagustuhan natin na maging green yung ospital, and let's be creative para ma-solve yung problema. Again, yung creativity na to ay hindi lang para sabihin green yung ating ospital, kundi para, again, ipakita na or mabigyan tayo ng actual na benefits katulad nga ng savings na pwedeng mapunta doon sa ating pantugon sa COVID-19 pandemic. So malaki po yung maitutulong yan, yung pagiging creative ng mga leaders o yung mga administrators ng mga ospital, no. Second po, ayun, ay yung let's look for alternatives. So marami pong alternatives na pwede. Again, gusto kong ibalik yung usapan lang siguro doon sa sinasabi natin na kailangan lang kasi ang madalas pong sinasabi sa atin na ang dapat sisihin or narinig natin no, na ang dapat sisihin kung bakit may basura ay yung mga users, di ba? Wala kasing disiplina, etc., etc. And frankly, ito po ay apart from disappointing, nakakabastos, di ba? Bakit po? Kasi kung susuriin po ninyong talaga, kahit gaano kadakila or ka-efficient or ka-religious yung mga pasilidad or kahit yung mga homeowners, di ba, sa level ng bahay, doon sa pagmamanage ng mga basura or even yung DNR. Kung ang DNR po ay magiging religious sa pagpapatupad ng basura, hindi pa rin po sasapat yung mga ginagawa natin because of the sheer volume of single-use plastics that's being produced every day. So talagang ang tendency po nito ay ma-overwhelm yung ating mga sistema. So pointless ba ang ginagawa natin? Hindi po. Kailangan pa rin natin ipagpatuloy yung mga magagandang bagay na ginagawa natin. But we need to couple this no with a demand. So dito ito na po yung susunod natin na recommendation. A demand para po talaga bawasaan yung mga single-use plastics and instead, katulad nung sinabi ni Job kanina, ay let's start seeking ways para ang magagamit natin ay reusable na mga stuff. So dahil para do sa ating mga medical frontline workers ay yung reusable na mga PPEs, 'di ba? So malaki po ang maitutulong nito kung reusable yung ating magagamit. And ito na po yung pinakita nga sa atin ni Saint Paul no na malaki talaga yung pwedeng contribution natin dito. Ayan. Tapos yung siguro yung isa pa ay yung let's say no to false solutions like incineration. So makikita pa rin po natin pag tinignan natin yung manual ng DOH, makikita po natin yung napakadaming hakbang na pwedeng gamitin ng mga ospital para po maging mas makamura sila doon sa pagmamanage ng basura at mas maayos no at less yung environmental footprint na meron yung manggagaling sa ospital. Kaya katakataka talaga na nakabalik pa yung incineration na alam naman ni DOH, nire-recognize din ni DOH yun sa manual na napaka mapaminsala at napaka mahal, etc. Kaya makikita nyo rin po sa manual if you pag sinuri nyo na ang recommendation din dito ay sinasabi nila na kung yung facility or yung pinopropose na project ay polluting, wag na yon, 'di ba? And we don't have to go through that decision. Kung alam na natin na yung alternatives na meron ay malinaw na wala talaga siyang masamang environmental cost or health cost, no? So wag na natin puntahan yung incineration dahil yon kailangan pa nating suriin or kailangan pa nating gumastos ng mas mahal para lang masiguro na hindi ito nakakalason or nakakapaminsala sa kalusugan at saka sa kapaligiran. So pagdating doon sa mga best alternatives, I think wala sa listahan doon si incinerator. It's not even the least best, no? It's really not an option. And then siguro yung last na po ay yun, kung sa ngayon ay naririnig natin matunog na pinagtutulakan ang pagsusunog ng basura or yung mga medical waste, um, we need also to ask. No? So lahat tayo ay kailangang tanungin both, no? Makipag sanggunian tayo sa DOH as well as sa DANR para malaman, no? So or magkaroon ng health impact assessment itong mga facilities na to. And when we say health impact assessment, hindi lang sa umpisa, no? Habang ginagawa ito, at dapat kung kino-construct na yung pasilidad na yan and throughout its lifetime, we need to be sure na hindi mapanganib ito sa kalusugan ng ating mga taong bayan pati ng ating kapaligiran, no. So ganito nakakatakot kasi yung mga pagsusunog ng basura as opposed to for example yung sterilization nga or autoclave or microwave, etc., etc. So siguro yan na po yung last, and siguro bago ako magtapos since Ninoy Aquino Day ngayon, sinabi po, 'di ba, may famous quote po sa atin si Ninoy Aquino na the Filipino is worth dying for. Totoo po talaga yan. Pero the Filipinos, 'di ba, especially ngayong COVID na nangangamatay tayo, and you couple that with the EGKs that are happening, couple that also with the murders of the human rights defenders or environmental defenders. So we can also say actually that the Filipinos is worth living for. At ito po yung subukan natin gawin. No? Bawasan po natin yung ating mga hakbang, no, na makakapaminsala sa ating kalusugan at sa ating kapaligiran to make sure, no, na lahat tayo ay malusog at lahat ng kailangan nating magawa pa para po sa ating bayan at para sa ating kalikasan ay magawa natin. The universe needs all of us healthy. The universe needs all of us alive for us to continue the good things that we are all doing. So maraming salamat po, and welcome to all questions. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat, Sir Paeng, sa mahusay na pagpapaliwanag. Again, sir, during the open forum. Okay. Green Convergence affirms the partnership between the civil society organizations and the government. Green Convergence values the importance of presenting and listening to all sides. After all, we work for the same environment, our common home. Our last speaker is to represent Director William Cuñado, who cannot be with us today. He is set aside an expert on hazardous waste management and environmental impact assessment. He is the current chief of the Hazardous Waste Management section of the Environmental Management Bureau. Here to discuss the state of the environment amidst the pandemic, please welcome Engineer Jerry Sanyes. Sir?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me share, and thank you for the invitation. Can I now share my the presentation? I'm just looking for it. Okay, can you see now the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. And in behalf of our director, Mr. William Conyado, I'm Jerry Sanyes, presenting to you the Green State of Nature Assessment in relation to our activities at the Environmental Management Bureau. So I'll just be, I think I have 23 slides, and I'll just be presenting to you some of our policies that have been issued since the time of the in our situation. So these are the policies. So far, we have issued a lot, and most of which are in the water quality. Then we have 6 policies each for hazardous waste. Then for chemicals management, we have 5 policies. So we have 2 legal and most of these are memorandum circular or clarification to the original law. So the first circular that we have issued this year is memorandum circular 2020-01, and it's about the suspension and implementation of training modules for pollution control officers. The primary objective of this circular is to simplify the accreditation process. And ngayon nga, medyo we have faced this restriction, so there will be another circular that will be issued to address the current situation. The next is the second memorandum circular is about again it's about the pollution control officer, and then the third is about the establishment of the uniform data acquisition in relation to the monitoring of air quality nationwide. So it's about on the installation of SEMS and COMS, or the continuous opacity monitoring system. Then the fourth this year is on the clarification on the reporting requirements for specific parameters and this is the one of the most controversial, is about the general effluent standards of 2016. So we just uh, we just clarified the reporting requirements specific on the specific parameters, particularly on the important, particularly on the following. So the phosphate level, the phenols and phenolic substances, silins, and the fecal coliforms analyzed, especially in class AA water. So we know that class AA is suitable for as drinking water and chlorine. The fifth is about some clarification on the data requirements with regard to the application of the pre-manufacture pre-importation notification procedure. This PMPIN is required for chemicals that are not listed in our PICS, or the Philippine Inventory of Chemicals and Chemical Substances. Now, the sixth is
Sir,
most of this, yes,
uh,
sir.
there's a feedback. Probably you need to turn off any gadget near you. Sorry, sir.
Gadget near me.
Yeah,
Uh, is there still a feedback?
continue talking, sir.
Okay, so
Oh, there is still
I
a feedback.
can hear. Yeah, but I don't have anything except for my phone.
Okay, but the feedback might be coming
But
from.
most probably there's one participant that the microphone is open, and that's one of the causes of the
Okay.
feedback.
I'm sorry, sir. You may go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Is there a feedback again? Okay, so that means one of the participants here has an open microphone while listening. So, and that's the cause of the feedback.
Okay, there's no feedback, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
yes. So, okay. Then moving on to the sixth circular rather. So it's in the implementation of the clarification on the Administrative Order 2005-10, and basically as I've presented in the graph, most of these circulars are issued are uh, regarding wastewater or water quality management. So now I will just go. So there's so many circulars, and we will be sharing this. Well, I have sent this presentation to the secretariat so that if people are interested to have this, you may share it. Then another important guidelines that we have issued is about the guidelines for the site control. So this is about a guidance document that will assist the property owners of contaminated sites in identifying and validating the presence of chemical of potential concern. Kasi we need to issue this because of the massive redevelopment in the area, and some are just redeveloping it without conducting the preliminary site assessment and detailed site assessment. So if one industry abandons the area and they have no plan of redeveloping it, so they are required to institute a site control in the area. Now, this is the next circular is on the globally harmonized system. So we are just guiding our regional offices on the mechanism of monitoring of compliance of the industry sectors for chemicals under the IATA and the IMDG. Then, okay, these are in succession that during the ECQ period, almost twice a week or thrice a week, we have been on a virtual meeting. So we have also issued the rules on confiscation of illegal chemicals and chemical substances. The objective of this is to compel rather the handlers and transporters of hazardous waste and toxic chemicals in securing environmental permits and other requirements. Now, we are not caught flat-footed, but we need to address, as Paeng, my good friend, said about the generation of healthcare waste. So in succession, we have issued, and since we have restriction on processing permits to transport, so in relation to the Bayanihan HILAS 1 Act, so we have issued the following memorandum circulars 14, 15, 16, and 20, and these are the interim guidelines on the issuance of permit to transport or SPTT for the transport of hazardous waste within community quarantine period. So the purpose or the objective of this memorandum circular is not to stop issuing permit to transport, especially for the healthcare waste generated by healthcare institutions nationwide, and with the relaxed regulatory requirements. So moving on to the other in between, well, the 16th memorandum circular is about the issuance of all of our permits and reporting system now are online. And towards the end of the presentation, I will be sharing with you how we have prepared as a regulatory agency in relation to the adoption of a new normal, where information or where you process your you process, apply and process permits online and submit reports online. So we have strengthened the operation of our online permitting and monitoring system, and we simply call that OPMS. So also, we have issued Memorandum Circular 18 to harmonize the implementation of the EIA law or the EIS statement law or the PD 1586 for projects under Build program of the government. Now, the Memorandum Circular 2020-21 is about the our manual of for uniform procedures for COVID-19 pandemic. So the objective of this memorandum circular is to provide both the central and regional offices of the EMB for the enforcement of environmental laws during the state of public health emergency. Now, we have, well, also recently, and this is what very hot item is about the issue on waste to energy in relation to the IRR or the Department Administrative Order 2019-21. So it is the clarification on the requirements of waste to energy projects relative to ECC application. So we just wanted to ensure that these projects should comply and must comply with the environmental impact statement system. Sorry. And again, we have issued guidelines on the pollution load estimates, and the objective of this memorandum circular is to determine pollutant contribution from point source and non-point sources, and towards the classification of the water body and assess its assimilative capacity. So another clarification or memorandum circular is number 26. This is the implementation of enhanced processing of a certificate of non-coverage for the category D projects under the PEISS. So The objective of this is to provide time and cost-efficient procedures for the processing of CNC or four-category projects only through the use of OPMS. Then 27 is about the project threshold extraction of non-metallic resources. So we need to streamline and harmonize the implementation of the PE, the Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System, and the Philippine Mining Act of 1995 in relation to non-metallic resources. And most probably, this may relate to Mr. Garganero's presentation on quarrying. Then the Memorandum Circular 28 is about the clarification and renewal of the accreditation of pollution control officers. So we are continuously improving the requirements, and some are really not submitting the right documents. And okay, so the Memorandum Circular 2020-30 aims to provide alternative modes of public participation. So we recognize the restriction that there are several EIA or ECC applications, but public scoping, public consultation, and public hearing is a must process. So we need to issue these interim guidelines. Now, our Memorandum Circular 2020-32 is on the recognition of the training organization. And we have just decided this circular is to clarify certain provisions, particularly on the recognition and renewal of PCO training organization and institution, because unfortunately, some of the training institutions' registration or accreditation are expiring this year, and they need to do some there's some number of trainings conducted required. So this is just a clarification on those requirements. So and that is the last. So far we have issued 32 clarificatory policies memorandum circular. So this is my next slide is about our new normal initiatives. So we are working, although most of us are working from home, but the operation of the bureau is still continue. So not only from the central office, but the whole EMB family nationwide. So we have operationalized the National Document Tracking System. We call it Integrated Information System. So we are regularly conducting virtual meetings, capacity building seminars, conferences by our MS teams. And then we have operationalized the permitting and monitoring system. And then we have this new improved site in complementation with our website is the interactive dashboard on air quality, water quality, chemicals management, solid waste management, environmental impact assessment, and laboratory services. So I will share a screenshot of how we do this. So with the integrated information system, we are now paperless. Most of the documents are uploaded here, routed, and processed until the director approves or disapproves the document. So each company are required to register under this system so that they will be provided, or all our clients will be provided with the reference system, so that in following up documents, they will be just referring the reference number for easy tracking or for easy retrieval of their application. So as I've said, we have conducted several meetings, regional directors meeting, capacity building. Just yesterday, we just had our solid capacity building on solid waste with regard to waste to energy by Microsoft Teams. Then these are the permits and clearances that can be secured online. So we have the hazardous waste management online. So permit to transport, registration of generators, everything, registration of PSD facility and transporters can be done on this site. And then we have also the CNC online, the ECC online, submission of compliance monitoring reports and the self-monitoring reports, so etc. So practically we are compliance, securing permits and clearances, and then submission of reports are practically contactless and at the tip of the fingers. Now, this is the interactive dashboard on air quality, and I'm just sharing. And because we have a bit since the time of the pandemic in March, when we have this ECQ starting March 17, we have generated national data on hazardous waste management, particularly on N501 waste. So what is N501? These are the healthcare waste. So you'll see that there's a site. These are the time, and then during the pandemic, so we have 60 transporters that operating nationwide for the specifically handling healthcare waste, and we have 32 treatment, storage, and disposal facilities or treaters of healthcare waste during the period. And this data of 7.81 or 7,000 metric tons of healthcare waste are transported from the period from March 17 until this is a screenshot of the latest August 15. And the treated of this 7.8 thousand or 7,810 metric tons, 4,760, approximately 4,760 are treated. And with this dashboard, you will see the real traffic, and this is a real-time data, the dashboard, real-time website site. You will see the activities nationwide. So like here, you just click the dot, and then you would know what is that. What's the TSD facility for healthcare facility is located in that area. And we have also a regional distribution of our transporter. And also in this upper right corner of the dashboard, you will see how much healthcare waste are transported and treated by region. So you'll have a profile of the activities, and then this at the bottom right are the PSD facilities distribution in our region. So you would notice that most of the TSD for healthcare waste are located in Region 3 in Central Luzon. And some are in Region 4A. There are 5. and then 4 are in Region 7, and in Region 1, there are 3, and 1 is. So right now, we are addressing the need to establish by proposing assisting the LGU for the establishment of a treatment, storage, and disposal for healthcare waste in the following region where they don't have that capacity, or they don't there's no service provider, or there's no investment on hazardous and not even healthcare waste. So these are region 2, 5, 8, 9, and region 12. So you just access our website, and you would know, and it's the same dashboard that you will find if you're interested to see the air quality, the water, the information. It's the same. It's the same information that this dashboard will be providing the public. So that's all. Questions or clarifications? So if you have clarification that you would wanted to us to respond, you can just email us at emb.gov.ph, and please visit our upgraded and beautiful website, the emb.gov.ph. Maraming salamat po, and have a nice day. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jerry Sanyes. Now we are going to go into the next segment, which is the second segment where you can now ask your questions. To give you the guidelines on how to ask questions, we have Carlo again. I turn you over to Carlo. Carlo?
The guidelines were flashed on the screen earlier, but let me just reiterate the following, and this is just quick. Raise your hand to indicate that you want to speak or ask a question. Your intent will be noted, and you will be able to speak during your turn. Please introduce yourself and your organizational affiliation before you speak. Please make it brief. And if you prefer to just write your questions on the chat box, it is okay. We will read them for you, and please indicate to whom do you want to address your question. And to those who are with us on Facebook, you can also do the same. And to maximize everyone's time, please keep your questions concise and direct to the point. Marie?
Thank you, Carlo. That was very clear. I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. So, who wants to ask the first question? Our host can see you if you raise your hand. You can, how do they do that, Carlo?
Yeah, they can use the icon on the app, or literally raise their hand.
Raise your hand like this. Yeah, okay.
Gallery. By the way, there are questions on the chat box. Would you like me to start with those two questions?
Yes, while the others are thinking about their questions.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Question to Engineer Sanyes. Let me start with the second question. Is the EMB dashboard available publicly? I think Engineer Sanyes said earlier that it is. Am I correct, Engineer Sanyes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the second question. Was EMB part of the review process for the 15 suspended mines that eventually recommended the lifting of the mine suspensions?
Apologies, but I will just be writing writing this question because I'm not from EIA.
Okay.
So I need to get the information from our Environmental Impact Assessment Management Division.
Okay, sir. Here's another question. Marie, can I proceed?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm also trying to read the chat box.
So
go ahead.
also addressed to Engineer Sanyet. What does treated, quote unquote, in 4.76 thousand MT with a treated waste mean? What is or are the treatments done?
Most of our treatment facilities here are, or the registered treatment facilities are employing microwave, then pyroclave. There's one pyroclave in Valenzuela, and thermal reduction or processor, and hydroclave in Region 4, and autoclave. So those are at present registered registered technologies being employed by our TSD facilities, or the treatment, storage, and disposal facilities.
Okay, there's another question, also addressed to Sir Jerry. Attention na po, Sir Jerry.
Walang problema pa.
Okay. Our friend Joe,
Pwede naman din si Ma'am Marie yung sumagot eh. Okay,
our friend Joe posted guidelines on COVID-19 waste. It's on the chat box right now. Sir, the question is, these guidelines were shared by USEC Antiporda during the public hearing in Manila LGU. Is the guideline a draft, or is it final and therefore for enforcement?
as far as I have been informed, that guideline is a resolution of the National Solid Waste Management Commission. So I think that guideline must be converted into an administrative order, because that is a National Solid Waste Management Commission resolution as endorsed by Undersecretary Benny Antiporda.
Okay. Ms. Tessa Oliva would like to be recognized. She would like to ask a question.
Okay,
Ms.
Tessa, go ahead.
Okay, Tessa Oliva of Green Convergence. I'd like to ask Paeng, what material was used for the PPEs in St. Paul that they can wash again and reuse? So what material did they use for their PPEs? And then for Mr. Jerry, Engineer Jerry, most of the monitoring gadgets that DNR is using right now is electronic. How do you ensure that the data that the companies send to you are not corrupted? Because sometimes you have to see, for example, the effect of mining on the ecosystem. You have to go physically and see maybe the kind of water that's being emitted, or so how do you ensure, because it's all now online, that the data that they report is not corrupted? And then I wonder, we've heard so much about the Chinese doing quarrying and mining in different parts of our country. What has there been anything done to correct this? So those are my 3 questions.
Who should? I think the first question is addressed to Paeng. Paeng, would you like to take the first question?
Right. That's right, Tessa.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I can. Thank you for that. Thank you for the question, Ms. Tessa. So the answer is the material they're using for their PPEs is called taffeta, of the quality that's being used to manufacture parachutes as well. So St. Paul Hospital actually sourced this material through an extensive research. So they really invested time to find out which would be the best use as an alternative for the regular PPE. So that's what they're using at the moment. But I think what they also say are they still into R&D as to if there will be cheaper, more efficient material out there. But at the moment, that's what they're using. And for the yung pads of the boot cover, they're also using leatherette kasama nung taffeta po. So yung as a sole for the taffeta cloth na pang cover ng boot, they're also using leatherette material.
Thank you.
Okay, my turn. So, with regard to the 15 mining companies, Ma'am Tessa, again, I have written on my note because I cannot, I don't have that information at the moment, but I can, we can send you the information via email. Then, with regard to the online monitoring, so we are finalizing the checklist of information, and we are instituting some guidelines on how our online inspection will be done since the restriction that we are finalizing another memorandum circular requiring PCO that let's say they have submitted and we have question on their we have question in the submitted report, so we can do we are articulating something that while inspecting, so the EMB people will be online, and then the PCO will be well, not the PC, but most probably their smartphone, to go around and see or focus the camera on the specific area of the facility that we wanted to be inspected. Then with regard to the data stability, or the data, what you call the correct data that they are submitting, meron naman po kaming they need to submit the data, the result of analysis must be done by a third-party environmental environmental laboratory duly recognized by DNR. So we have a check and balance in relation to it's not the industry, or it's not the PCO himself or herself that will be analyzing it, but still we require submission of results of analysis as analyzed by a third-party laboratory, and that environmental laboratory should be a recognized laboratory by the DNR.
Can I add? Is it, Engineer Sanyes, is it possible to impose on the companies to put a camera that you can access anytime? Because of course they can lower or change their operations so that the emissions will be good as seen in the camera. But if there is a camera constantly focused on their operations and you can access it anytime, maybe that would be a good way to monitor it. So that's one. And then can I ask about the energy to waste to energy facility? I'm surprised that this is endorsed by DNR. Isn't this against RA 9003?
Okay. In relation to your first question regarding the installation of camera, we are just enhancing the requirements for industries with the aspect on air pollution. So that they are required to install SEMS, or the continuous emission monitoring system. And also, we have already a policy on the installation of a close-in camera, the CCTV in the area. And that's what I'm saying. We are preparing the guidelines on the in addressing the other aspects, water. So they need, and your concern will be addressed. That in all the outfall or the outfall of the wastewater treatment facility and their sources, there will be a requirement for the industry to put up a camera. But still, we are preparing this guideline, and should be properly due process that we need to inform them. And of course, it will require investment. And some in one of our consultations, they are already saying po na hirap na nga po kami mag-operate, tapos ito pa investment pa. So we know how much these gadgets cost. So we are looking into that, Ma'am Tessa. With regard to the waste to energy, I don't think, well, as far as my memory, my personal assessment, I don't think there's prohibition on technology under RA 9003. Or would you like to elucidate your question if there's specific provision? Because I don't see a provision in the RA 9003 that prescribes or on the technology. But what I can recall is there's prohibition on incineration of municipal waste. So I think that's my answer.
Paeng, is that okay with you? I mean, I think he asked you to elucidate. Was that your question to begin with? Whose question was that?
Miss Marie, I just asked Ma'am Tessa to well elucidate what she meant about.
Oh, Tessa, okay. Maybe.
Because
maybe
she's asking me if there's a provision. If there's a provision in Republic Act 9003 on the prohibition of waste to energy, and there's no specific provision on in the.
That's right. No,
okay,
they don't call it waste to energy, but however, what kind of technology is it? It's burning the waste in order to come up with energy? Isn't that the same? And the toxic, or is it in the Clean Air Act? Basta it's in one of the environmental laws. I'm not sure if it's.
Okay, I can get you, but I'm just asking you to zero in your question, Ma'am Tessa.
Okay, so we can't dwell on this because it has been discussed many times, and the reason given, I think, is always technical. Like it has to be burned at a certain temperature so that it doesn't produce toxic waste. But although it has been proven that nobody can always burn at that temperature, especially when it's wet, things like that, so ang daming discussions about that, and we don't have time to discuss that now. Maybe we should have one specific session for waste to energy alone. I think we've had it some time ago, right? But it's always
we can proceed now.
Coming back.
Yeah, Miss Marie, that's a good proposal. But most probably, this just be a short and sweet answer to Ma'am Tess. What she's referring to is the Section 20 of the RA 8749 that has a specific title, Ban on Incineration. And this is a contentious issue about the interpretation of that specific section of the Clean Air Act. Now, of course, there are criteria to be set in that Section 20. And as a technical, well, as you said, Miss Marie, we are technical agency,
Yes.
and that's the reason why we are not, and not even Department of Science and Technology. I will tell this. Your concern is our concern too. If we don't want dioxin and furans, you don't want dioxin and furans and toxic emission. We don't like it either. But of course, with or without incineration, and this is what I'm saying, meron po o walang incineration, may na-measure kaming level ng dioxin and furans sa ating kahanginan, especially doon sa malalapit sa mga dam site. Pangalawa, natatandaan ko na nagsagawa ng pag-aaral sila. You were with Greenpeace before, right? That you were able to measure a level of dioxin and furans in breast milk of dito sa somewhere in Payatas. Kasi turuan natin yung tao na wag magsulog ng basura ng chlorinated substance. Yung mga PVC, katulad ng iba, maulan ngayon, walang pambili ng gas. So ang gagamitin nila yung mga plastic na yung chlorinated, yung PVC. Ano ba yung PVC? Polyvinyl chloride. Ano ba yung dioxin? So may chlorine. So hindi nila alam na sumasama sa pagkain o nalalanghap nila or yung mga ibang. Kaya nga we are working closely, and thank you Eco Waste Coalition in our projects in Bagong Silang. Kasi yung iba, naturuan na ng Eco Waste ngayon na wag niyong basagin yung mga cathode ray tube at itatapon niyo lang doon sa mga creek. Ngayon naturuan na yung mga informals doon na pamamaraan kung paanong i-recycle na maayos ang mga waste electrical and electronic equipment para hindi sila nagkakasakit sa Bagong Silang sa Kamayan. And our good partner Eco Waste, sila Ray, well, Jobs din kasi, or yung isang pangalan, sila Eileen. Kami yung magkakasama na nagtuturo. Sila yung nagtuturo kasi technical kami, kailangan nag-uusap. Mas magaling ang kasamahan sa civil society magpaliwanag ng mga technical na bagay. So, yun po yung mga ginagawa namin.
I have to, thank you very much, Jerry. I worked with you. I don't know if you remember. I used to be with Eco Waste Coalition, but we don't have time.
Yes, Miss Marie. Yes.
We don't have, also for climate change, I think, right? But we don't have any more time. Maybe I can take one more question, if there is one more question. No more? No one is raising his or her hand. Shafi is our host. She's the media person of Green Convergence. So no more?
I think in the chat box, there's one for me. Do we already well, most probably ang tanong niya is do we already have the list of NEA or
non-environmentally acceptable products
as mandated in 9003. I'm taking note of this because I'm not from solid waste. I'm not prepared to answer if there. But I think there's already a list. But on how many are in the list, then I would not know at the moment. Thank you for asking.
Yes, that's very important. Yes. So now, if there are no more questions, we will proceed to the reading of the resolutions. We have Green Convergence has prepared draft resolutions, and we would like to present it to you. This will be read by Mark Tinao. He's a member of the board of Green Convergence and is the national coordinator of Life de la Salle Philippines. Mark? Oh, incidentally, please take note of, if you have any objections to the resolutions, because we are going to ask you to approve all of these in principle at the end of the reading. Thank you. Mark?
Thank you so much, Miss Marie. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank Green Convergence for this effort of creating the SONA's draft resolutions. But allow me to read our draft resolution. Shafi, can I share screen?
Okay pa.
Are we good? Shafi?
What's going on?
Sir Mark, will you share the screen po or ako po?
Okay.
Me.
You can share screen na po, Sir Mark.
There.
I hope you can see it clearly.
See it.
Yes,
We see it.
it's clear, yes.
All right. Green convergence for safe food, healthy environment, and sustainable economy. State of Nature Assessment, Crisis, COVID at Kalikasan, August 21, 2020, draft resolutions. Whereas the Philippines is a country gifted with rich natural resources, considered as among the most remarkable in the world and has unique topography teeming with biodiversity. Whereas the rich geographical ecosystems of the Philippines provide ecological services to the people and protect them and the other life forms from the impact of climate change. Whereas our country's characteristic of being mountainous mitigates impacts of stronger typhoons brought about by climate change. Whereas the world, the Philippines, not exempted, is now a challenge with COVID-19 pandemic that has claimed lives and drastically affected economy due to imposition of needed lockdowns and community quarantine to address community transmission of the disease. Whereas the use of disposable protective gadgets such as face masks, face shields, personal protective equipment has been mandated as precautionary measures to manage community transmission of COVID-19. Whereas municipal and medical wastes are increasing due to disposal of protective gadgets against COVID-19. Whereas talks in Congress have been ongoing to use incineration to address the mounting infectious waste rather. Whereas incentivize through hazard pay and provide guarantee to avail of regular employees' benefits to all waste collectors and those workers who have been infected with COVID-19. Whereas the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, or RA 9003, bans incineration due to the emission of dioxin and other toxic substances that pose hazards to health and ecosystem. RA 9003 instead recommends the use of non-burn technologies to address infectious waste. Whereas reduce, if not avoid, reliance on single-use plastics, including personal protective equipment or PPE, to address plastic pollution. Whereas improve healthcare waste management system which abides up-to-date, proper and environment-friendly infectious waste handling and disposal protocol. Whereas mining projects that were suspended or canceled due to environmental violations or non-compliance with their contractual obligations are now recommended to be reopened as part of the economic recovery response to COVID-19. Whereas the impact of mining on the environment and human lives has been proven to be devastating and threatens our geographic ecosystems, biodiversity, and watersheds that protect us from impact of climate change and provide good quality of life for all. Whereas a better new normal must be conceptualized to ensure the health of people, other creatures, and that of our ecosystems to bring out an ecological sustainable environment for present and future generations to enjoy. And we, the participants of 2020 State of Nature Assessment with the theme Crisis COVID at Kalikasan held this August 21, 2020 via Zoom, call on the government to critically evaluate and rethink the reactivation of mining sites all over the country, reject the idea that mining is a stimulus activity for economic recovery amid COVID-19, and stop any plan to legalize the use of incineration and promote zero waste lifestyle. Enact the Green Bill, ban on single-use plastics and opt for reusable and washable PPEs, Enforce RA 9003 or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act by imposing the use of non-burn technologies to address and manage infectious waste. The National Solid Waste Management Commission should spearhead the training and capacity building to local government units or LGUs on how to environmentally dispose and properly manage PPEs. Empower and assist the health industry and people to practice and promote ecological solid waste management through strict compliance of segregation at source, environmentally friendly management of infectious waste. Create a comprehensive database on best practices in treating special waste with the use of non-burn technologies. Provide people-centered, environment-friendly, and country-based programs and solutions to address COVID-19. And for our part, as members of the civil society, we resolve to ensure the natural environment is not compromised and human lives not endangered. Oppose the implementation of environmental destructive projects such as the use of incineration and continued operations of large-scale mining and other environmentally destructive projects. Lobby for the government to adopt an ecological paradigm in conceptualizing a better new normal plan to ensure that similar occurrences of this pandemic are avoided. Or manage properly, ensuring no additional health hazards to people and the environment. Raise awareness among the people, especially the youth, for them to become champions of ecological sustainable development. Promote behavioral change and create a culture that promotes care for the environment. Unite to protect the environment and synergize our actions that are socially inclusive, economically sustainable, and environmentally beneficial. And lastly, affirm God's gift of life and uphold the integrity of creation. I think
Is
that
that
would
it?
be all, Miss Marie.
Ah,
Thank you so
okay
much.
na.
Yes.
There are corrections in the chat box. Maybe we can
Oh,
add.
can you read the corrections in the chat box, Mark?
Okay. For example, enact the green bills pending at Congress, including new laws on minerals management, sustainable forests, national land use, indigenous conserved areas, freedom of information, and defending human rights defenders.
Okay. Shall we add that? And then anything else?
It should be maybe a Clean Air Act instead of the Solid Waste Management Act.
David said also instead of using a better new normal, just use better normal. Noted, noted.
Okay. So if there are no more additions,
There are,
actually,
may I?
yes, sure.
They're just an editing.
Tingnan niyo yung nilagay ko sa chat box.
I can. I was trying. Some editing needed lang. Doon sa mga
Okay.
whereas.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, this is what we will do. We have the email addresses of our participants sa Zoom.
Yes.
No? So what we're going to do is we're going to email these resolutions
Exactly.
to them, and they can make their comments for finalization. Meantime, we would like you, all of you here today, to approve these resolutions in principle, meaning with the additions, the corrections, but you know, we're just looking at the thought, the content. So if you would like to approve this, these resolutions in principle, please turn on your videos and make the approval approved.
Pwede pang may ihabol na konti. Quick lang.
Yan.
Go ahead, sorry, here.
Sige, sure.
Yung nila, isa na. Titin ako, start video. Hi. Sorry. Yung isa tama, napuna ko na yung green bills, okay na yon. Yung second, yung dun sa other environmentally projects, I think kailangan natin talagang sabihin yung against the large dams. I don't know if we specify kaliwa or large dams. Add lang dun sa oppose. Yun. Tapos, I think consistent naman yun sa principles natin. Saka
Okay,
sa
Gwen,
advocacy.
as I said, please add when we send you these resolutions.
Pero meron pang isang mas mahalaga na kung okay lang sa'yo para marinig din ng body. Hindi ko alam kung saan pwedeng ilagay doon na the Laudato Si should serve as parang a blueprint for moving forward in the better normal. I think that's a growing consensus in the environment.
Okay, that's good.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes, I agree. That's good.
Thank you,
Gwen. And so
Marie,
now,
can I add something also?
yes, Carlo.
If I may add, all of the comments and inputs of the participants here on the chat box will be saved by the Green Convergence and will later on append all the changes to our resolution, which will be sent through email soon.
Yes, and Carlo, can you teach them how to make the thumbs up sign?
Oh, there's
or
a
they can physically do it, or they can do it through
click the reaction. There are two
approve.
there. Either clap, but what was your instruction? A thumbs up. Okay, so just go and then click thumbs up.
Shafi, allow the video.
Yes, like that. See, Gwen has made it. Okay, Tessa has made it.
With the editing.
I will do it like this. Okay, so please everyone, please turn on your videos and make the thumbs up sign if you approve of these resolutions. And we will take a screenshot to prove that you have approved it. Okay, so
Shafi,
let's go.
you have to allow us
Shafi,
to open our videos.
Yes, po.
The host has disabled my video.
What? Who has
The host
disabled
has disabled my video. I cannot turn it on.
Yes,
Oh
all
my
our
God.
videos are disabled.
I'm fixing it na po.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay na daw. Shafi has turned it on.
No, it's not. Mine is not.
Okay, not yet.
Nope.
Wait lang po.
Shafi, can you tell us what's going on?
I'm fixing it na po.
Okay, so we have to wait a little bit. Meantime, please stay put. We are after the approval by the body of the draft resolutions. We're going to go to pre-closing with myself and Carlo, and then final remarks by Dr. Galang. And then we're going to please stay, and then you're going to turn on your videos again, and we will have our batch picture. Everyone attending the SONA today, so we will take screenshots of everyone. Okay, so stay for that.
Can I ask
Are we
po
okay?
who cannot open their videos
Yes,
yet?
Shafi.
Okay na.
Me, Tessa.
It's okay na.
Well, I can just put my
I can
thumbs up
see,
sign.
Tessa. Oh, di ba
It's in
kanina
your
ikaw
computer.
already?
It's in your computer. I don't know.
Kanina naka-thumbs up ka na.
Yeah.
Si Carlo naka-thumbs up na. Ako naka-thumbs up.
Okay. Okay.
Ako, nakadalawang thumbs up na.
All right.
Hi.
O, ganito na lang. Oh, di ba?
Ready?
One.
Are we all on video?
Yeah.
I will take two
I love
pictures po
it.
since we are plenty in the call.
Saka put the board together in one
three.
screen.
Okay, next
Okay,
po.
thumbs up, thumbs up.
Okay, next batch.
One
Thumbs up
more.
for approval of
Thumbs
resolution.
up for approval.
1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you po.
Okay na lahat?
Okay na po.
You got it?
Yes po.
So now we are going to listen to the huling hirit of our co-moderator, Carlo Garcia. Carlo?
Oh, Thank you, Marie. Apologies to those whose questions on the chat box were not read and addressed. Pasensya na po, wala ng oras. Marie, I consider this event not just a learning opportunity. It is an affirmation of our commitment to continue our work for the environment and, of course,
Right.
honorable. And thank you to all those who joined us today. I've noticed friends from Northern Samar, Iligan, Capiz, and Baguio. And it's always inspiring to be in the company of fellow advocates. Thank you all. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you, Carlo. It's always nice to have you. And now for my parting shot. Short lang. Just sharing my thoughts. The state of the nation, as we know, is inextricably linked with the state of our natural environment. However, in presidential SONAs year after year, little attention, if any, is given to the environment. The term sustainable has become an empty buzzword. Simple wisdom tells us that sustainable development is not possible without a healthy and sustainable environment. Where would we get raw materials, minerals, food, energy, and other resources needed to fuel a vibrant economy if our environment is in a sorry state? Indigenous people, I love them, know this instinctively. But greed negates simple wisdom. This is why we need an alternative SONA, the State of Natural Environment, or Green SONA, that Kamayan para sa Kalikasan has hosted today. This is an annual activity of green convergence. With this, we hope that by calling attention to environmental concerns, we can encourage more and more people to resist greed, restore native wisdom, and protect nature for genuine, sustainable development. Good afternoon, all. Thank you. And now, the last word has to be from our president, Green Convergence President, Dr. Nina Galang. Nina?
Thank you, Marie. I think you said it quite well already. But just 3 points, no? Thank you, of course, first. Thank you to our guest speakers who gave us so much information. JB, Paeng, Jerry, Jove, and Jerry. Needless to say, I think everybody was shocked, not because we didn't expect it, but we were still shocked by the information given by JB about the mining, not so much the activity, but the illegal mining that has come in maybe because COVID came and secrecy is the order of the day. And the amount of waste that is being disposed of without improperly. But it also reinforces our approach that really we need more consciousness raising and awareness raising. As Paeng pointed out, it's a matter of having people imbibe the everything must go somewhere paradigm. It has to be, all waste has to be disposed of properly so that it will go where it can be a resource again. And I'm glad that they're continuing to have their program of training information to communities. And St. Paul, Iloilo, is a model for really what an institution can do if it really has the solid waste management paradigm at heart. And that's all and we all are enjoying to do that. Right now, it's so easy and it's so tempting to just use single-use plastic, which you can throw away, or accept single-use plastic, which you can throw away. But if we really cared, and I hope everyone in this group cares, we should still bring, pandemic or not, COVID or not, our reusable shopping bags whenever we buy anything. The reusable PPEs of St. Paul has shown, or their program has shown that it can be done. And Paeng emphasized the fact that really these things are happening because of paranoia. COVID is a virus, an infectious virus, of course, but so are many other diseases. And yet, hospitals have been have accepted the fact that infectious materials can still be washed, disinfected, and reused. What JB shared was really nakakahimatay, that there are illegal mining. Okay, some things are done because, you know, we don't have enough education, information, like solid waste management. We just have to show that solid waste management works and pays, no? But when something is illegal, that's another thing altogether. I mean, it has to stop, it has to be punished. People have to be accountable. But again, as JB encouraged us, they gave the encouraging information, communities are speaking out. They are pushing back. They know what mining can do to their communities, and so they are emboldened to do right by their communities. So our platforms of awareness raising, we should keep at it. And I'm glad Jerry Geronimo mentioned the fact that they are streamlining or rationalizing the participation of people in the EIA process, because the government, business sector, everyone has to hear each other's voices. But only when citizenry is environmentally enlightened and know that taking care of the environment is for our country, can we really attain sustainable development. I think the speakers have shown us that it need not be a matter of economics or health or environment versus each other. I think if we look at all issues, in fact, when you take care of the environment, you take care of health, you take care of economy, it's good all around. And this is why, Jerry, I think I would like to emphasize that incineration is one of our, ban on incineration is one of our principles of unity. I know that everyone does not want dioxins and furans. I mean, that's a given. But we still are very strong about it because it's the most expensive way of disposing of waste. It's the most expensive way of producing energy. And of course, it's very threatening to the environment. So sustainable development, I think we all have to keep in mind and educate others, is all about improving together. We improve health, we improve economy, we improve the environment, we improve our people. So we have to continue with our work. And as I said, we will be having discussions on what to do for the new normal. And we will be informing you about the dates for our General Assembly, our core planning, and other meetings. So again, thank you very much everyone for participating. Thank you to Marie, to Carlo, to Mark, to Sister, to the Board of Trustees, Vicky, Isai, Inday. Did I leave out anything? Xander, are you here?
Roll call.
Okay, and our staff, Shafi, Mabeth, Anna, Shirley,
Sister Sonia.
Sister Sonia. Thank you very much. And of course, special thanks to Jerry. We know that when we invite DNR, some of you think you're entering a lion's den, but I think you also know that we're all in this together. So talking, engaging, trying to see each other's point of view is what is important. And hopefully we will come to more unity about how to go forward for our country. Thank you. God bless everyone.
Thank you, Nina. And now please stay put, everyone. Stay put. We are going to have our batch picture. So turn on your videos and make your poses. Oh, announcement. The next Kamayan para sa Kalikasan Forum will be on September 18th. We hope to see you again. And Carlo, thank you very much, my partner. Thank you, everyone. So are we ready for the screenshot? Is everyone seeable? Kita na ba lahat? Yes, Shafi, how are
I
you
think
doing?
some of them would prefer to keep their videos
Identities. Anonymous?
Yes.
Really?
Okay, ayaw nila magpakita. Sige, those who are available for the
Sister
batch
Joe, we
picture.
will see you.
At least the board, sana one screenshot.
Okay, lahat muna.
Lahat muna, and then
board
the board.
later.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more picture po. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you po.
Okay,
you.
thank you very much,
So how do you do
Shafi.
the board?
Can't you
Yes,
keep
we
it
leave na
together?
lang, maiwan na kayo para
Yes, po.
makumpleto kayo. We will leave kayo instructions.
Yes,
How are you,
po. The
Pwet?
other participants
Bye,
would have
everyone.
to-
Thank you for attending.
Bye.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you,
Stay
everyone.
safe, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
JB.
JB.
Na-miss ko
Stay
na po yung
safe.
makamayan.
Stay
Thank you
safe,
for
everyone.
inviting.
Stay safe,
Thank you,
but not
Jex.
silent.
Thank you,
Keep safe and stay
Joey.
healthy, everyone.
No, I
Good to
don't
see you all again. JB, nice to
Thanks,
see you.
Jerry. Thank you.
Yes, see you.
David.
See you all.
Ma'am Vicky, thank you. Ma'am
Oh,
Nina.
Thank you very much.
Like that.
Nagiging
Okay.
bagas tayo. Nagiging bagas tayo lahat, Maria.
Ganyan.
Yung Korean heart, ha?
Oo, di ba?
Oh, yung kamay ni JB, oh.
Okay. Thanks, thanks.
Bye, Shen.
Okay po, thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Till
Be
next
safe.
time.
Salamat
And
po.
enjoy the
Bye,
holiday.
Green
Enjoy the
Convergence.
Till
holiday.
next
Enjoy
Bye-bye.
the
time.
Salamat.
holiday.
Salamat. Keep safe.
Naiwan yung board.
Bye-bye.